Close your eyes for a moment, not to sleep, but to look. Think about the last time you were in a room full of people you love, yet felt an inexplicable, cold distance, a phantom wall. You were physically there, nodding at the right times, wearing the expression that the occasion demanded. But behind your eyes, you were miles away, calculating the safety of the exit or measuring the exact temperature of the conversation. This is the quiet hum of the blueprint. You are not broken. You are simply following a map that was drawn for you before you even knew how to hold a pen. We call this attachment style in the clinical world, but in the gallery of the mind, it is something much more profound. It is your internal architecture. It is the way you have learned to house your soul so that the world cannot bruise it. The paradox of your life is likely this: the very armor you built to protect your heart has become the cage that keeps it from being felt. The mask that once saved your life is now the very thing preventing you from living it. Welcome to Somaesthe. Today, we are going to stop trying to fix the cracks in the plaster and instead look at the foundation. We are going to explore why you love the way you do, why you live the way you do, and how your childhood survival is painting your adult reality. To understand the canvas, we must understand the primer. Your attachment style is not a personality trait. It is a biological imperative. From the moment you entered this world, your brain was engaged in a relentless pursuit of limbic resonance. You were a soft, unfinished creature looking for a mirror. If that mirror was steady, you learned that the world was a canvas you could paint on with bold strokes. If that mirror was cracked, distant, or overwhelming, you learned to paint in the corners. This is where we encounter schema chemistry. These are the deep, invisible patterns that dictate who we are drawn to and how we behave when the lights go out. If your early environment was marked by inconsistency, you may have developed a high degree of ontological insecurity. This is the feeling that your very being is at risk if you are not constantly monitoring the moods of those around you. Consider the internal architecture of your childhood home. Was it a fortress where emotions were hidden behind heavy drapes? Or was it a storm-tossed ship where you had to be the anchor for parents who couldn't find their own? These experiences created strata, layers of psychic sediment. You built a social mask to navigate these layers. Some of you became the achiever, thinking that if you were perfect, you would finally be safe. Others became the ghost, believing that if you were invisible, you could never be hurt. This is the shadow self in its infancy. It is the part of you that learned that your raw, unfiltered needs were too much or not enough. So you tuck them away into the basement of your psyche, building a beautiful, functional house on top of a foundation of hidden longing. Friedrich Nietzsche once wrote that man is a rope stretched between the animal and the overman, a rope over an abyss. When we talk about attachment, we are talking about that abyss, the fear of being truly known and found wanting. There is a specific kind of invisible grief that comes with carrying a blueprint you didn't choose. It is the grief of the artistic cost. Think of all the colors you have had to stop using. Perhaps you stopped using vulnerability red because it felt like a target. Perhaps you stopped using boundless blue because you were told you were too loud or too demanding. To maintain the social mask, we perform a sort of internal censorship. We paint over the raw pain of our instincts with the flat beige tones of appropriateness. We become experts at the impasto mind, layering defense upon defense until the original image of who we are is buried under inches of hardened ego. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. If your primary thought is, I am only safe if I am useful, or I am only safe if I am alone, your entire life becomes a monochromatic exercise in survival. This is the weight of the canvas. It is the exhaustion of holding up a frame that no longer fits the art inside. How does this show up in your gallery today? In your relationships, it is the push-pull dance. You might find yourself desperately craving intimacy, But the moment someone gets close enough to see the texture of your skin, you find a reason to recoil. You pick a fight. You go cold. You find a flaw. This isn't self-sabotage. That is a hustle culture word that lacks empathy. In the world of Somaesthe, we see this as symptom as survival. Your adult failings are actually brilliant strategies that worked when you were 5 years old. Going cold kept you from being overwhelmed by a volatile parent. Being needy was the only way to get a distracted caregiver to look at you. We become architectural perfectionists, trying to build the perfect life so that no one looks at the foundation. You might be the person who is incredibly successful at work, but feels like a fraud the moment the office doors close. You are using your career as the suit, a tailored armor that commands respect so you don't have to ask for love. Or perhaps you are the invisible observer. You go to parties and stay on the periphery. You are a master of listening because it means you never have to speak. You have turned your survival into a lifestyle, but the price is a profound, echoing loneliness. Your inner monologue is likely a critique of this blueprint. You tell yourself to just be normal or stop being so sensitive, but you cannot shame a foundation into changing. You cannot yell at the paint until it turns into a different color. The path to wholeness is not about scraping the canvas clean and starting over. That is impossible. Your history is part of your texture. The path is restoration. It begins with nervous system sovereignty. This is the process of teaching your body that the war is over. It is learning to recognize when your blueprint is screaming danger simply because someone didn't text you back immediately. It is the slow, visceral work of breathing through the discomfort of being seen. Then comes shadow integration. We must go into the basement. We must find those colors we tucked away, the anger, the neediness, the wild joy, and bring them back to the palette. You have to realize that your neediness is actually just a human requirement for connection, and your detachment is actually just a need for autonomy. This is reparenting the inner artist. It is looking at that blueprint and saying, thank you for keeping me safe. You did a wonderful job, but I am the architect now, and I want to add some windows. I want to let some light in. Integration is not a destination. It is a practice of noticing the mask as you put it on and choosing, even for just a second, to take it off in front of someone safe. It is the courage to be unpolished. As Carl Jung famously noted, I am not what happened to me, I am what I choose to become. The blueprint was given to you, but the brush is finally in your hands. You are allowed to change the composition. You are allowed to be messy. You are allowed to be whole. At Somaesthe, we do not believe in the broken self. We believe in the covered self. We are not here to be fixed. We are here to become whole.